Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey everybody, Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. Welcome back. JC and I are here with an awesome guest today, and we're going to be talking about hiring as a team sport. Hopefully not a tackling sport, right, JC?
Yeah, nobody wants to experience that in the workplace.
I think sometimes we feel like it is, though. You know, recruiting and attraction is so hard, and it's even harder day by day just because of the state of the world. And not that people don't want to work, but people don't want to work for certain types of people. So with that said, I want to go ahead and introduce our guest, Donna Helfrey, VP of Talent at Go1. Hey, Donna, how you doing?
Hi there. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Good, good. Thank you so much. Let's just jump in and give us some advice on hiring and how it should be a team sport, specifically with the hiring team. Yes, there should be a team, not just one person, right? And how, what the heck their role is in hiring.
Perfect. And I think you nailed it with the segue of, recruiting and hiring is super challenging and people want to work, but they might not want to work for all people. Okay. So I think we really need to own who we are. Each company has its own nuances and things are different. I usually lead with when I'm talking with potential candidates, I'm like, hey, we're going from startup to scale up. This is not Microsoft University. Go1 specifically has, employees all over the world. So we've got a time zone thing that is real. And so we want to make sure that the people we're targeting are really comfortable with the build. Okay. Again, it's not plug and play. Things are scrappy. Things can be a little messy, but at the same time, you could really see, your impact in the fruits of your labor very quickly. You've got an opportunity to position, what is Go1 going to look like the next 5 years because you've built this. Okay. So essentially you're going to, get a hiring team together. The hiring manager hopefully is really leaning in on the driving of some of this of, hey, these are the people I want to assess, certain competencies. And, I have some skin in the game there and some, making sure that I'm getting the right people, that they're trained on the right competencies. We lean in with our behaviors. So we've got focus areas that we assign to the loop. We make sure they're dialed in on the job description. We make sure, there are certain things that can be taught. Could this be a little bit more build versus buy? But do they have the right competencies, the right behaviors, and the right grit and gumption to handle things that aren't that easy? So again, making sure you compile this, interview team. I try to stay under 5 people depending on the role. And we're going to assign competencies. We're not going to have the same conversation 5 times. I want this person to focus on, hey, stay in your lane, be specific to this piece. There's going to be things that, hey, somebody needs to assess for technical competencies. Somebody might need to be able to assess for, let's say, your accounting or tax or, there needs to be some subject matter expertise. But then at the end of that, I also want to do hey, show us a little bit of your work. We're going to either do, here's a case study, or maybe there's going to be a prompt with a role play scenario. I just hired a really good HR business partner, and basically we center, a culture amp is feedback engagement survey. We didn't put any real detail on it in terms of who the business group was, but it was hey, here's the results. Here's the questions. Here's the things we're doing well. Here's the opportunities. Summarize this and, kind of come back to how would you lead this conversation with the business group, and walk me through that. Part of engagement is employee engagement is not only an HR job. It should really be everyone's job. But do I know that this person who's going to kind of, have this as part of their remit can really drive those conversations and influence in the way that they need to?
I love it. And I love that you mentioned, subject matter experts. And I think it's so important to get those subject matter experts involved in the interviewing, but then also train the subject matter experts what they can and cannot say or ask in an interview, because sometimes we forget to do that and then end up in court, right?
Right, right. And you basically, like, I think in our role being in HR, I've been doing this for 25 years, you take for granted that this is common sense. And unfortunately, there are things that you have to remind people of. I think Go One is a really incredible platform because we actually have courses on, hiring manager engagement, on unconscious bias, on how to attract and select candidates and stuff like that. So I've actually compiled a list of some of our best courses and put them in an entire interview pack for the business. So they get a prep in terms of, here's the resume, here's the job description, here's your focus areas, and here's some, interview skills that how to upskill your own interviewing competencies and, make sure that they've taken that before they interview people.
Oh, I love it. That brings me to a question that I'm actually going to hold for now because we're about to wrap up our first series of this five series podcast. And think about this, and we'll be right back. I want to talk about cultural fit, cultural add, not fit. Oh, my employment lawyers are already tuning in going, no. Yeah. So with that said, everybody, thank you so much for listening. We'll be right back.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.